In today's video, we are going to be looking at the latest Final Fantasy VII Rebirth trailer, Destined for Rebirth. This trailer is short, it's sweet, but it builds a lot of hype, and there's a few things hidden in there of note that we can talk about in today's video. I'll have timestamps down below, so if you want to skip to a certain section, feel free to do so. All I ask is for you to support the channel and hit the thumbs up button. I know that we're getting closer to the launch of Rebirth, and I know that some people may just want to take a step back and not watch any more trailers and just play the game when it's out. I respect that, and this is probably where you want to leave the video. But for those that are staying, let's get straight into it, and we're going to go and watch the trailer in its entirety off the bat first.
Place. It was Sephiroth.
It can't be.
He wants to finish what he started and rule over the planet.
You coming?
Way ahead of ya. We have to help them.
Let's get to work.
You are truly a model soldier.
Tifa! We can handle this.
I will reclaim our world.
There we go. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So let's watch it bit by bit, frame by frame if you want, and we will break some of the stuff down. So we'll start the trailer off. And this is quite obvious, the Nibelheim incident. I don't need to say much else about that, except it looks epic. But there is one thing in particular that I want to go back to, and that's this dude holding the shotgun. That's probably not going to have much of a chance. We're probably not going to see much of this guy, but it's quite clear that he is the sheriff of town, or the leader of Nibelheim, and he could be based upon, or he could be, the character Xander from A Traces of Two Paths. We know that they're interweaving the compilation in the remake project, and it does make sense for having additional characters. Not only that, but having characters that maybe we may come slightly attached to while we play through the Nibelheim incident. We will feel a little bit more for this situation. We'll feel for the Nibelheim incident. This is a town full of people, and Sephiroth absolutely wiped it out, and I'm thinking that's what they're going to try and do by establishing characters and really making us connect. And again, making this scene feel even more devastating than it was in the original. And we do see Sephiroth ever so briefly. I think just here, he is quite sadistic. He is on that rampage going back to the reactor. So very excited to play through the Nibelheim incident in this one. Feel sorry for that guy though. So, that section in particular, so we've already seen this trailer, which I believe was from Summer Games Fest, maybe. I get all the trailers mixed up. But one of the earlier trailers, which seems to be the aftermath of what actually happens here. This is pretty crazy. Obviously, tornado shenanigans going off, ripping Midgar apart, showing the devastation of whatever this world is. That this is clearly where Zack is, and the aftermath of what happened in the Singularity. This is very similar to what the Singularity was like, but it's happening in a reality. So very interested to see what happens. And then we have very so briefly as well, very short. Let's go frame here. Look, this almost looks CG, and this reminds me of the Cosmo Theatre in the Shinra building, where they obviously watched about the ancients, but then Sephiroth seemed to have just, clicked into it and showcased what we thought at the time was Materia about to hit Midgar. This doesn't look like that, but it looks like that. This is probably happening during the tornado. Maybe this is what the intro is going to be like, showing what's happening to this other Midgar or the same Midgar. We don't really know. We've not seen much Midgar in Rebirth. We've seen it in the background of the calm images, so I guess in that respect you can't really relate this to that Midgar. So let's just say it's the one that Zack's in, and this is showcasing what happened during the Singularity outside of that space. I can't say much more than that because I truly don't know. I could speculate for ages, but we'll be here for a very long time. I just think this is going to show some more devastation, which we're probably going to experience a lot of in Rebirth.
What happened to this place?
And then of course here are Zack, and a quick cut there. I think it's quite obvious that this has been taken from the first reveal trailer that we got from Rebirth, from the anniversary stream. That seemed quite a while ago now, but it's kind of like going with the music. That's something that's going off in this trailer. Is it's dun dun dun, really cool the way it does. But Zack asks the question. If we go back,
This place happened to this place.
what happened to this place? And then we cut to Tifa saying it's Sephiroth. Now, this isn't connecting. This is just a real good trailer cut. This is obviously taken from the calm scene in the inn where they are discussing about the Nibelheim incident. Tifa chimes in every so often, and I do like the close-up on the lips because we, as players that have played the original, know that Tifa knows that the Cloud story is not what it seems to be. So these like cuts to close of her mouth is obviously depicting like she is kind of like but kind of wanting to hear what Cloud's got to say kind of thing. And of course we assume what's happening here is Sephiroth as well, so it interweaves it quite nicely. Now, very so quick, pause champing all the time in these breakdowns, but this is taken from, well, we've seen this before. This is in the what is now known as the Shinra 8, the cargo ship we know as OG, where the Jenova fight takes place. I feel like this is going to be something quite grandiose because this is the first time we're going to see Jenova since we've had that epic fight against Dreamweaver Jenova in the Shinra building. And yeah, it's just taking it from that scene there. It can't be. And then again, a nice little bit, which I think is taken straight from, I've just muted the audio, my apologies, which is taken straight from the, we've seen it before. And if we go back even further, I want to talk about Barret here. And this is one of two things to me. So the first thing would be obvious to connect it with the trailer. It can't be. Talking about Sephiroth, maybe the Dreamweaver itself. You got to remember, Barret was impaled by Sephiroth, and then the party fought Jenova. Whether he's seen that fight from his perspective or not and watched the team defeat that, it would explain his reaction being like, oh, it can't be, like the thing that stabbed me, I came back to life, and this alien, this headless piece of trash from the Shinra building is here again. Could be that. Or the other one would be looking at location. You have that beam of light just behind Barret. This could be somewhere in the gold saucer and starts up and kicks up the Dine Barret relationship, him discovering that, hold on a minute, these guys have been shot with someone with a gun arm. There's only one person that might be. So it's either one of the two. If you think it's something else, please let me know in the comments, but let's carry on.
He wants to finish what he started.
We have
Over the planet.
a brief look, the briefest look at the Shinra parade at Junon. And well, just there, I might as well point the elephant out here. This is Roche, his red bike. Makes sense. I think a lot of people, myself included, thought he would show back up in Rebirth, and the best place for that to happen would be during the ceremony for Rufus becoming the new president. What Roche's role is, whether he helps the party, whether we fight, maybe there's another little, I don't know, motorcycle mini game somewhere, who knows, but he's there. I'm interested to see if we'll see any other soldiers. Maybe Consul may make another appearance where I might actually see him here in Rebirth. Everything's up in the air. And of course, I've got to point out the high wind here. It says it on the side, high wind, and it looks epic. And you've got these little drones. I assume that these are cameras kind of recording the events of this ceremony.
And rule over the planet.
A bit more of the calm flashback there, because obviously he's talking about Sephiroth and his plans to take over the planet. But this scene in particular, I mean, my initial thoughts is this is taking place at the same scene that we see Aerith at the end of the Games Awards trailer. Yes, the Game Awards trailer. But the hue of green is quite different. But the definitive kind of like connection we have here is the whispers. The whispers are a bit more prominent in trailers now as we've gone forward. And you can see that he's ready to strike. You would think that it could be, but again, the trailer's probably taken out of context. I think the whispers just being there makes that more prominent to be maybe the scene, but I can't really put him anywhere else. A lot of people are saying that the hue is the same as the Whirlwind Maze. I highly doubt we're going to see the Whirlwind Maze, but I can see that, I guess. But again, a lot to speculate here with what he is striking down here. It could be even part of the flashback. You never know. So let's carry on.
You coming?
You come in. Very short and sweet here. Barret is at the Ghost Square. This could be taking place before we go to the Temple of the Ancients. It could be part of his date. It could be anything. But yeah, Ghost Square.
Way ahead of ya.
Bit of Yuffie. We'll see more of that. Then we've got the Bottomswell fight. Not much to add to that. I'll talk more about the Yuffie bit a little bit later, but I do want to talk about this scene in particular. Now, there's some images that are on the blog post where Barret, Yuffie, and Tifa are in a party together, and everyone's like, what, no Cloud? Which isn't much of a surprise to me, since we know that the party's probably going to split up at various points of the game. We know it's happening at the Mithril Mines, where Red and Barret split off from Aerith, Tifa, and Cloud, of course, and it seems to be happening again. And I think this is expanding on the trip through the Corel Mountains, because there's a certain part of the game, regardless of what party you take, is you have to pull down a drawbridge to let the other people go. Then you go all the way back round, and then you go through as well, and then you get to Corel, the mining town, or the remnants of that mining town. And I think this is probably more scripted. It makes sense because you want the player to try out all these characters. Maybe if we had the choice to play as characters, I think a majority of people would stick to one team. So having that flexibility and getting people to try out characters to maybe change their composition here makes sense. But yeah, I think this is when it says we should help them. Is that what Tifa says? Let's play that again. She says we have to help them. I think the drawbridge is going to be much more of a problem than we think, and we need to help them. We got our own issues that we're fighting here on this part. Cloud, and it'll be Cloud. What would it be? It'll be Cloud, Red, and Aerith on the other team, right? Because that's what because we haven't met Kaseth yet. So yeah, makes sense to me, and excited to see how they expand. Let's carry on. This we'll touch on in a minute.
Let's get to work.
Okay, big bits to break down here. Some of it very self-explanatory. But let's go. This is connected to a scene we'll see a little bit later. But this is connected to the Midgardsormr fight. It's been confirmed that is the name in the press release, I believe. But this is part of the fight that we then see a little bit later, just here when we go into the fight. There we go. Just that bit, because you can see the fire pillars here just behind me. Shall I move again for you guys? Hey, look, over there, it's the fire pillar. So, yeah, connected there. And then, jumping ahead of myself, Hojo, we'll get to you in a second, my friend. This scene here, we got the Midgardsormr, another one that's wrapped around the tree and probably been impaled by Sephiroth, or a remnant of Sephiroth, one of the ones in the black cloak, just to kind of show the dominance of him, and that we are indeed going in the right direction. This scene in particular, I think there's just a couple of frames. We're near water. It could probably be near the Junon area. But yeah, very excited for those events. This fight, it's going to be something. It's going to be interesting, but it seems a very fire-based attack. Whether we will learn beta here, who knows? Looking up at the background, actually, this scenery here, trying to work out, it's probably just the entrance to the mines. These structures are on top of the mines. Not much to look into, as much as I'd love to just spend hours on end. But here, Hojo, let's watch what he has to say here.
Truly a model soldier.
You are truly a marvelous or model? Hold on.
Truly a model soldier.
Model soldier, okay. What could this be? Now, this could be a few things. He could be working on a soldier that he is changing to be part of the Jenova reunion. It could be Cloud having a glimpse of what was happening to him during the Nibelheim incident. It could be Zack having flashbacks of him, what happened during the Nibelheim incident before he got put into that tube. I think we'll just leave it up to speculation, but it's obviously one of those things. Hojo's up to shenanigans and can never mean anything good. Now this, for Rebirth, we'll get to this in a second, but this part, one thing that I felt was quite prevalent in this trailer was Gongaga. I think this is going to be a big section. Now, I will explain in more detail once we get to further parts of this trailer. But again, Whispers having quite a presence here, and I think this happened after the Temple of the Ancients. I think this is where the Whisper shenanigans will really go into full effect, much like Remake around that part of the game, where we will then track to the Forgotten Capital. I think this is where Cloud has woken up. Shinra is obviously after us because we are now carrying the black materia, we assume, at this part of the game. So it would make sense that the soldiers here are trying to either get that, or they are just quite simply going after that bounty. But Whispers are very prevalent here, and I think that's going to happen after everything that happens down in the Temple of the Ancients. So next part, we have got... This is what I want to talk about. Now, so much to say here. Obviously, kudos to Cody Christian here, absolutely nailing this scream. I think it's wise to note that Cloud doesn't actually have his Buster Sword here, so this could be him looking up at that beast after Tifa has fell into it and he assumes that maybe she's here. Also, there's a few things I've got to say about this. She is falling. This is the Gongaga reactor. This is the center of it. We know that Mako reactors are always built on pools of the life stream to get the most out of it. Now, she falls into it. This links back to the trailer where we thought it was part of the Cosmo Canyon shenanigans. I thought that as well, where they were talking about weapon. I think that was a trailer thing. I think this is what I'm going to get into here because I think I've got something. So I think Tifa falls into this pool of Mako. She then sees the monster. I'm calling it a monster because I don't think it's a weapon. And she looks at it as it swims, glides across, and she's like, a weapon? Because they would have talked about it at the Cosmo Canyon planetarium scene where they will say like, they probably don't know what these weapons look like. And as they're doing the thing, maybe they've got a depiction of what they may look like. And Tifa is simply remembering back to the Cosmo Canyon scene and thinking, oh, that must be a weapon, because this is happening after the Temple of the Ancients. Major stuff went down there, and the planet may not be happy about the fact that a whole temple has turned into the black materia, which can destroy the planet. So Tifa is probably thinking, oh, the weapons are now awakening while she's there, which we would all think that as well. But I think this is just an experiment, and it interweaves in to the huge materia. The huge materia. I think the huge materia has a lot to do with these beasts. I don't think they're weapons. I think they're experiments. There's been various posts I've seen comparing these parts of the monster to various experiments that we've fought through remake and concept art of the compilation. And it's quite simply, this is our first array into the huge materia saga, and that's what I think it is. I don't think it's a weapon. I think when we seen it, Tifa was like a weapon, and then Red explained it. I think they're taken out of context, that they are being taught about this at the Cosmo Canyon scene, and this is simply Tifa falling in, thinking it is a weapon, because that's all she knows. The planet's gone. I'm repeating myself. You know what I'm getting with. But also, this in particular looks a lot like the bottom of Bizzarro Sephiroth. Coincidence? May be. But a few other things to kind of note that I think this is a Shinra experiment. It's this claw machine here. This is here for a reason. Shinra are probably aware that this beast is just swimming underneath the pool of thing, and this is just simply there to control it. And I think this will probably become a battle mechanic. We'll be fighting against this. But another one I want to talk about very, very briefly is that she falls into this, right? And this orb is the same color as the Mako pool. And I was watching back, and I'll probably put some footage up of that trailer where she looks at the weapon go past, and it looks like she's encased in an orb too. So maybe there's two of these down here. There's two of these things down here, and she's inside one of them. And that may explain why Cloud is looking up. He's looking up, saying, Tifa, because she's trapped in this massive monster. They know that they're going to fight it, and they're going to have some kind of mechanic like we had in Final Fantasy IX, where Vivi and Garnet are trapped in a monster, and they've done it like with Renoa inside Adele, however you want to pronounce that. I think we're going to have like a fight where it's going to involve Tifa being in this orb. I'm going out there a little bit here, just with this bit. This claw machine to restrain it. And it's going to be quite the battle here. That is just my thoughts. And this is taking place after the Temple of the Ancients. Let's carry on. Went on a little bit there, but do not fear. More Gongaga. I think this is the airstrip behind Gongaga as well, where Shinra's probably trying to hunt them down. Maybe because since the escape of Temple of Ancients. But we can see sparks of Mako as well, just here in the background. So I think it all takes place. I think Gongaga is going to be a big section of the game when we go there for the second time. I think we'll be alluded to a few things as we pass it. But after Temple of the Ancients, I think shenanigans are going to get down. I'm really excited. I am pretty excited. The unknown. So talking about Yuffie, let's just kind of hit the nail on the head with this one. If it isn't obvious, this is Costa del Sol. That is the ship in the background. This could be some kind of part of the beach, volleyball court. Maybe we can hit a ball at Red 13 or something. But there seems to be some kind of fight going off here or something. This could be an ninjutsu or it could be a summon. This is part of Sephiroth's monologue to Jenova and the Nibelheim instant. And then we're finishing off with the kind of other... We've seen the behind shot of Barret Tifa and Cloud about to go against Dreamweaver. This is just probably the intro to that fight. And then this looks like the edge of creation, just because if you just at some of the stars underneath here. But that isn't from remake. If you see just below me here, it's quite evident he has the wing. He did not have the wing in the edge of creation in remake. So I think we return here, and I think the edge of creation is going to be a third game final dungeon. I think we go to the North Crater, and as we go more and more towards the center, we're going to be going through the edge of creation. The only reason I say that is because the edge of the creation is a bit more, I don't know, like there's a lot of rocks floating around now. So things are changing, things are happening. And I think by the third game, the edge of creation is going to be this massive plane of space between worlds where we will ultimately be traversing, I think. And I don't think it will be just Cloud. I think he'll find the power to bring the rest of the peeps here to finally put an end to Sephiroth in this remake saga. That's just me though. And then this is probably as part of the recap video that we're going to get at the beginning of Rebirth. So yeah, that is everything. I'm going to leave, what shot shall I leave it on? I'll probably leave it on that shot. They are my breakdowns of the trailer. We're going to be going over the blog post and a few images in another video, so stay tuned for that one. I appreciate your time. Please, if you like the content, subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy that content, hit the notification bell and like the video and get involved in the comment section below. I want to know if there's anything I've missed, something I may be wrong about, something that you agree with, all of it. Throw it down there. Thank you for watching, and until next time, I'll catch you on the flip side.